Okay, and welcome to another edition. We're getting excited here. We are doing episode after episode, and this is fabulous. Everybody's coming in, and we're getting a lot of information from y'all. So before we start, as always, my Linda has her little thing here, and she's going to tell us what we have in our mugs. Hopefully, it's some good stuff.
Yes, as always. And actually, I think today, if I'm not mistaken, and I know we had to miss a week because of medical stuff, but I think today may be our 30th episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Number
30 episodes.
30,
Oh my gosh. That's so freaking awesome.
isn't it? It's crazy. I never thought we'd make it this far. This is
I
wonderful.
know. So tonight I'm talking about hibiscus.
Ooh.
Hibiscus, it's such a pretty flower. You want to wear them in your hair.
Now, if you're up from the north, we call it a hollyhock, actually.
Ah, yeah.
It's called a hollyhock up north. So it's a little bit different. When I came down here, I'm like, hibiscus, hibiscus. And I look at it and I go, oh, it's a hollyhock.
Yeah. So there's actually no one is quite sure where hibiscus originated, and there's 8 different species of hibiscus.
Wow.
So that makes sense what you're saying.
Yeah.
So um, the 8 species are native to Mauritius. I'm sure that's an island somewhere. Madagascar, Fiji, Hawaii, and either India or China. And it says the 8 original species have been hybridized into hundreds of other species. Um, and the first mention of hibiscus is from around 295 BC when a Chinese author mentioned growing it.
Wow.
Um, yeah. And it was widely grown in China, but it didn't make it to Europe particularly early due to travel restrictions.
Hmm.
Um, it was travel restrictions were placed on Europeans by China during the 1300s. So, and it lasted all the way up to 1860.
Ooh, talk about
Yeah,
sanctions. Wow.
I know. I was like,
Man.
um, so
When you say the word hibiscus, it just sounds so, I'm going to say it, so Florida
it
or
does.
it's so sunshiny. It's one of those things, when you say it, you think luau,
Yeah,
surfing, beach.
exactly. Exactly. So, because of that restriction, the travel restriction, it's possible that European visitors never even saw hibiscus when they would go visit China, um, so that they couldn't bring back any plants. So, that was like the thought behind
So
it.
if you don't see it, you can't take it.
Exactly, exactly. So I thought that was interesting. Um, Now, before we get into the medicinal and magical benefits, I wanted to talk about some fun facts about hibiscus. So it is known as rose mellow, which I've never heard, hardy hibiscus, rose of Sharon, and tropical hibiscus.
I've heard of Rose of Sharon, and that's pretty big down here in Florida. A lot of things are Sharon. It's not Sharon,
Yeah,
it's Sharon.
Sharon, yes,
Yes.
yes,
Oh, okay. But
right.
I've heard of that one. But like up north, we call them hollyhocks.
Yeah, it's so
I don't
weird.
know
It's
how we
so
got that
funny.
name for it.
It's so funny with the regions, how that is. So let me see if I can prop this up. That'll make it a little easier for me. Okay. So hibiscus can symbolize, um, or excuse me, hibiscus has a history of being a religious symbol, which I did not realize. Yes,
Really?
it's the flower of the Hindu goddess Kali.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yep, and she's often pictured emerging from a hibiscus flower. And it's common to use hibiscus as an offering during ritual or anything like that to both her and um, Lord Ganesha during worship. So I thought that was really interesting.
That is interesting. Now, hollyhocks look a little bit different than hibiscus.
Okay.
I'm going to try and show you a picture. Let's see how my phone works, and it's not. Okay.
Nope, it's
Well,
not.
it's because if Pam would get her fingers out of the way.
Okay. Yep. I know what you're talking about.
So
Yeah.
we call that a hollyhock, and
Yeah.
that's if you type in hollyhock, but if you type in hibiscus, it looks almost the same.
Yeah, it's a little different, but
It's a little different, but you can tell they're related.
yeah, definitely related. And now the hibiscus can symbolize relationship status. So the relationship status in Tahiti and Hawaii. So if worn behind the left ear of the woman, she is not available for a relationship. And of course, if it's on the right ear, she is single and ready to mingle.
Kind of like if it's a ring on your left hand, you're not available. If it's a ring here, I'm definitely available.
Right. Or even like the claw dog ring, if you have it pointed down, it's supposed to symbolize marriage. And if you have it pointing outward,
Yeah,
hmm
I was told I wasn't married until I got my colada.
right, exactly. Now, this was interesting. Hibiscus juices can be used to blow bubbles, and it works particularly well when combined with soap. So I'm going to have to test that out with the kids
I was
sometime.
going to say, I know there's a little expert at your house that would be wonders. And
Yes, she loves bubbles,
she would
absolutely.
absolutely just master that art.
Yes. The yellow hibiscus is the state flower of Hawaii,
Yes.
and hibiscus is also the national symbol of Haiti and the national flower of Malaysia, the Solomon Islands, and Niue, Niue. Probably saying that so
Interesting. I didn't know it was anybody's. Now, you talk about it.
wrong.
When I moved to Florida, one of the first things I got was the salt life in a heart with a
Hmm.
hibiscus.
Oh yeah, I mean
So that's sitting on my car
like a
back
rite
window.
it's like a rite of passage.
You move to Florida, you have to do that, don't you? You have to have salt life on your vehicle, and you have to have a hibiscus. Isn't that like a law?
Except my sticker is Thrift Life, which we'll get into that later.
Oh, we definitely will.
Caesar. Now you'll find this interesting. A species of hibiscus, which is Hibiscus cannabinus,
Ooh.
is often used to make paper.
Oh,
So what do you think that is? A hemp. The hemp plant.
it's crossbred.
Yep. So I did not realize that there was a species of
I
hibiscus like that.
I wonder what it smells like.
Probably
The
heaven
flower.
if there were one. But
No, I'm just curious how it would smell because a hibiscus has
that's really sweet.
sweet,
Like,
like
yeah,
when you smell it, it's just like, oh,
I
that's
know. I know. The inner bark of hibiscus tiliaceus, which is one of the species, is used in Polynesia to make rope and wood. Excuse me, to make rope, and the wood is used to make canoes. So, kind of going back to what we were saying with the hemp rope and the stems, how you
yeah.
could
I
make
was
a
just gonna say, I wonder if it's related some way to the hemp plant, like way back and
yeah. I'm not sure. At least that one species seems to be.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because they, in natural states, they will cross pollinate sometimes and come up with something. So that's why I'm wondering.
Right, right.
Pretty cool.
Um, And then, of course, hummingbirds love to feed from hibiscus flowers. So,
That's
your hummingbirds. And then, hibiscus is also regularly used in Ayurvedic medicine, which is an old.
oh, all the time. I mean, they call for it in a lot of different things. I
Yeah,
studied Ayurvedic for a while, and it's like everywhere.
yeah, yeah.
Well, the
And
nectar of a hibiscus is sweet.
yes,
And we all know from Mary Poppins, spoonful of sugar. But if you sweeten whatever you're working with, just like with honey, it gives
mhm,
you that you'll take it and you'll use it kind of thing. Because if it
yeah,
doesn't taste good, you're not going to do it. I mean, let's be honest. If
exactly.
if it was true that we would do it, whether it tastes good or not, we'd all be a size five because we'd all be eating salads and granola. But there are those of us,
The
yeah,
life burgers or whatever.
when I get done with a salad, there is nothing healthy about it. Trust me, not even the lettuce.
I know. So speaking of medicine, let's get into the medicinal aspects. So hibiscus is full of antioxidants. So going back to like the blueberries and the other things, all the things, so many things that we've talked about have been antioxidants. So it's going to be good for your immune system. Um, it may also help to lower blood pressure. Hibiscus is known to help with blood
Oh,
pressure. Um, and then it says uh, can also help lower blood fat levels. It may help to boost your liver health when taken in small doses. Large doses may cause liver damage. Again, always do your research before doing this. These are just going over the herbs. You still have to look for contraindications, any medications you're taking on all of that fun stuff. Um, it also may help with weight loss. So I
oh.
want to look into that.
Put that
um,
in vodka and we'll see how that works.
right? Exactly. Hey, vodka, zero carbs. Um, so it says may help to fight bacteria with that cause infections. It can also help with fluid retention, so that would make sense with the weight loss.
Yeah, get
So if you're,
rid of that real quick.
yeah, yeah. It can also calm an irritated stomach. It can help with urinary tract infections, aid in digestion, and it also says it could be a remedy for dandruff and hair loss. So I thought that was interesting.
Is that why they make some shampoos? I've seen shampoos out with hibiscus in it. You have
I
all,
believe, yep.
like they have out all the stuff now with all the different oils, the shea oil, the shea,
Mhm.
and this, that, and the other. But I have seen hibiscus
Yeah, it's something
in the
when the oil
botanical.
of the flower, yeah, and also it says that hibiscus may also have a cooling effect on the body. So it's great when you drink it cold in like tropical climates, but you can drink like hibiscus tea either warm or cold, like we've talked before.
So if we put it in our vodka and we take our vodka out of the freezer, we're good to go.
Exactly, exactly. And
Look out for this weekend.
and also hibiscus is really good for like PMS, cramps and things like that. So I thought one of them did say it could help with contraception. Please don't drink hibiscus tea thinking that that's gonna do the trick. But
Yeah, that's like the aspirin between your knees.
I thought that was interesting. So now hibiscus magically is typically used in love spells.
I was going to wonder where it was used. Love spells, yeah. It's
Yeah,
the
typically,
smell because the smell is so intoxicating.
and because hibiscus is an aphrodisiac.
Ah.
That's why,
Oh,
yeah.
well, if you add it to the vodka, then you're sure to get laid.
There you go. And then it says and of course, if you're incorporating the colors, so you can do like red hibiscus, which would enhance like love spells and things like that. And we've talked about that before.
They come
Attract.
in what, 4 or 5 different colors?
Oh, there's a ton of
The
them.
orange, pink, red. I've seen
Mhm.
yellow, purple. Up
Yeah.
north, we have a lot of purple hollyhocks. I mean, they're all over the place.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love purple, obviously. Now
They're
you
almost
can
the color of
also,
your hair.
oh, really? Mm.
Yes. I have to send you pictures.
You can also burn red hibiscus as an incense to increase passion in the room. Hmm.
I wonder what it smells like. I don't think I've ever smelled.
I don't think no, I for sure have not incense. So we're gonna have to
They had an
experiment
incense store and or somewhere that
or
has
make
a lot
her
of incense
or
and
make
just,
her.
take a sniff because I can't imagine the smell of it being burned.
Oh, I know. Oh, I'm traumatized by those damn rose petals. Man.
That's what I keep thinking about every time I'm thinking about, I wonder if it's going to smell like the rose petals.
Oh my god, it smelled like burnt hair. It was horrible. Um, You can also sleep with hibiscus next to or under your pillow to help improve your chances of prophetic dreams. So it's also good for psychic work and divination, other than just lust and love. and passion. It's also good for independence and harmony. So if you're doing any rituals or spells for anything like that,
Hmm.
courage, beauty. So if you're doing any of those self love, self care type rituals that we've talked about before, put you some hibiscus in your ritual bath water instead
You
of
know what? Floating a few of them in your bath water would be amazing.
yes, ma'am. I know.
Ooh, couple of candles, couple of
And guess what? The deities associated with hibiscus are Venus and Aphrodite.
thank you,
So
Aphrodite.
I know. Zodiac correspondences are Aquarius, whoop whoop, and Scorpio.
Ooh, Scorpio, really? That's where the
Yeah.
passion comes in.
The gender is feminine. The crystals associated would, of course, be rose quartz.
Yeah.
You can also use orange carnelian, garnet, of course, any of those type of colors. The element is water, the planet is Venus, and the gender is feminine. And the other thing was, let's see, yeah, inducing dreams also. And you can carry it in a satchel or burn as an incense to attract love. We've already talked about that before. Be careful when you do those type of things. But I thought it was interesting. Yeah, I thought that it was interesting as an aphrodisiac for sure.
Yeah, it's so sweet when you have the flower, when you smell it, growing. It's very, very beautiful. But I just can't imagine that scent being conveyed in an incense. There's certain scents you just
Yeah,
can't, I can't picture like there's scents you can, there are obvious ones like sandalwood, cedar. I mean, you can, but some of the stuff like that, I just wonder, how bad it's going to smell.
you trust me.
You're traumatized. You got to go through PTSD. We're gonna get some intervention here from Melinda here on this wonderful because it was like I thought you were gonna die that night.
It was like so bad. But that was hibiscus. I thought that was some good stuff.
And I'm not being. I have seen. I've been to places that have the big wide mouth, like a martini glass, and they put a
Mhm.
hibiscus flower floating
Yeah.
on your drink. It's one of those, foo-foo drinks. And I wondered about what was all tied in with that. But now
Right.
that it is edible, obviously, and it does do
Yeah.
something. So I just wondered because a lot of places, I mean, of course, like I said, when you see that flower, you immediately go to the beach. That's where
Yeah.
your
Natural.
brain to the beach. And you think about it in a fruity drink, wearing delay, putting one behind your ear, the whole 9 yards. So
Yeah.
I just couldn't imagine, using it any other way. But
Right.
now that you
No.
talk about it in the bath, that would be like
That would
petals in your bath.
yeah. Instead of the rose petals, do the hibiscus. Heck yeah. And
Yeah.
then go on a date night, have your big martini with your big hibiscus flower in your martini and eat oysters and call it a night.
And black olives. I'm Italian. Remember black
Black
olives.
olives. Are
There you
black
go.
olives an aphrodisiac?
Oh, yes, they are, honey, in Greece and Italy.
Well, no wonder. I love black olives.
And she's wondering why she has so many children. Uh,
Wow. That shit is funny. Woo! I never knew that. I never heard
yes,
that about black olives. I
black
forgot.
olives are an aphrodisiac in Italy and Greece. Yes.
Wow.
It's a thing. Especially if you take the black olives, you pull the pit out and you stuff it with a piece of feta,
Hmm.
and then you soak it in a garlic and olive oil.
Those are my favorite.
Oh, girl,
Mike
that,
and I go to Fresh Market all the time to the olive bar, and I always get the olives, and then I get just a crap ton of roasted garlic, and just so good.
oh, and the feta cheese
Oh
on it.
man,
It's
now
so
I gotta. Oh, now I gotta go to the olive bar tomorrow. Okay.
yes, that's the kind of, and this is why I'm not a size 5.
Right. Nor I.
I would never give up. My food.
Although I don't think we would get super huge off of olives.
But the feta cheese, the oil, and like I said, I start out healthy. You give me a plain baked potato, and by the time I'm done, I guarantee it'll give you a heart attack. Not a
Right.
problem.
It's
You know,
tastier.
it's going to be like a fettuccine alfredo, heart attack on a plate.
Oh gosh, that's too funny. But that was hibiscus, and so
That was
tonight,
interesting. I enjoyed that one.
yeah, me too.
Right.
So a little teaser. I told you that my sticker was Thrift Life. So tonight we're talking about thrifting and witching on a budget.
All right, witching on a budget. Now, I'll let you in on a little secret. For 2 years, I worked for Suncoast Goodwill.
Oh,
Um, I helped run 2 stores. And let me tell you, I was always a thrifter prior to that because I had children. Let's face it, you got kids, you thrift. Um,
well, plus
and
it's fun. It's
I
fun.
was never, I mean, I would go in, especially for camp. I did Boy Scouts for 10 million years. And I would go there to buy camping clothes because they
Oh yeah.
ruined them in 2 seconds.
Mhm.
And Boy Scout pants for just little guys is $35, $40 a pair. So like, no, 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 no. We're going to the thrift store. We're going to pay $2 and you're going to get a pair of olive colored pants and you're going to
Yeah,
be good to go.
exactly.
That's what we did. And even for myself, I bought, because I had to be in uniform as well. So I would buy, olive colored pants at the thrift store. And you can get Boy Scout stuff at the thrift store
Oh yeah.
for almost nothing. So I was a thrifter then, and as I've gotten, I don't not older, but just a little bit wiser on things. When I worked at Goodwill, and this is true story, people donate, and sometimes children are donating. Their parents have crossed over, and they're donating from their house, and they don't know what they're donating.
Right.
So my job, because I used to work for a clothing manufacturer, so I know he was high end, so I know high end clothes, and it was like, oh, I could. They call it boutique. We
Right.
get stuff in. We literally got a Dolce and Gabbana dress. It still had the tags on it for $645.
Damn.
We sold it for 50. I
God.
know. Well, first of all, it was an ugly dress. I'm just going to tell you that. But it
Right.
was Dolce and Gabbana. I had a Dion von Furstenberg purse come through. Still had the tags on it. $475.
I think the most I ever paid for anything was like a Vera Bradley bag. And I didn't even pay like designer stuff. I didn't even pay for it because it was like free from work through like work program thing. Like I just don't do the designer thing, but
I am not
me.
a designer person, and anybody that knows me will tell you I'm not. Now, true story. I go and I hit Goodwill. I'll be the first because I work there, so I know how it works.
Right.
So I go there, and you can find all the name brands. Uh, a lot of it still has tags on it.
Hmm.
So you can see the actual price and see the Goodwill price, especially if you watch your colors because they have a different color every
Yeah,
day
that's
at
the
50% off.
that's the key right there.
You can, and
Color of the week.
I have seen top dollar stuff go for almost nothing. And
Mhm.
I am the world's worst. I went this weekend, my roommate and I, we had little time on our hands, so we hit Goodwill. We hit a couple other thrift stores too, but Goodwill tends to be my favorite, not only because I worked at them and I know most of the people that work at all the 4 Goodwills
Right.
around me, but it's because I know the quality of clothes that they get a lot of
Ex-
times. So I know what stores to hit for clothes, what stores to hit for knickknacks, what stores to hit for furniture. And it's like, okay, what are we looking for? This, we're going to go to this store because this store has a better selection of this. So working in Suncoast, I do know the stores, and I will tell you, Goodwill also gets new goods in. So let me
Yeah.
explain how that works because a lot of people don't understand that. They buy end of year quantity stuff. Um, it might come from Rite Aid, it might come from another um, big manufacturer who makes the stuff. They get it at end of year when they're getting rid of it. They don't want it anymore or it didn't do well in the stores or whatever. They're halving the price. So you can purchase something at Goodwill brand new, and you can tell because it has the white tag on it and it ends in 99. It's whatever it
Mhm.
is, 12.99, 3.99, whatever. And those are brand new stuff and it has the white tag. Now, the advantage is it's exactly the same stuff that you would have bought in that other store, but
Right.
at a third of the price.
Right. Exactly.
So
And
I actually have some actual stuff. We're going to do show and tell tonight.
yes, I have some things as well.
Now, everybody knows that I do virtual circle. And virtual circle is ritual for a year, and everybody loves my athame. I've
Yes.
gotten. Do you know where I got that? That's a Goodwill.
What? Shut the hell up.
It was a new item.
Oh my gosh. Are you
Okay.
talking about the dragon one?
No, yeah, the big dragon one. I'm going to grab it here off my altar if I don't kill myself in the process. But yes, ma'am, I bought that. That was
Wow.
$25 at Goodwill.
Shut up. Are you serious? That is like the most badass thing ever. I don't know how you look at this, you guys. Look how crazy cool that is.
Now, this comes in at Halloween time.
Oh my gosh.
Now, does it still have the tag on it? Sure as hell does. 24.99.
Wow.
Now, I didn't wait for it to go on sale because they put all the Halloween stuff on sale the next day because I knew it wasn't going to be there.
Right.
This
No.
is Goodwill. Okay.
Yes.
This is my pride and joy.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody, I've had more people like, oh my God, that is like, honey,
It's cool. It's so badass. What do you
$25. You'd pay $25 for that, wouldn't you?
I haven't even seen anything like that on freaking Amazon or anywhere like that. I looked.
Okay. Now, this is what you have to do. You have to actually, when you thrift, and everybody who thrifts, just like if you yard sale, you know when seasons change and stuff comes in.
Hmm.
Now, I'm going to tell you when you go to Goodwill, Halloween, let's face it, they start training the end of this month for Boo Crew. I was Boo Crew for 3 years. Okay, I'm just going to let you know that. Boo Crew is the person they bring in from each store, and you are trained. You go through a training session, don't laugh, about how to put together a Halloween costume. And not only how to put one together, but how to help people in the store for Halloween. So it's called Boo Crew. I still have a couple of my t shirts. They're orange and they say blue, Boo Crew and black. But the day after Halloween, when everything goes on 50% off, Goodwill is mobbed
Oh yeah.
because this kind of stuff goes on sale then.
I will tell you, I've never seen anything like that in any of my Goodwills.
Oh, my Goodwills down here have this. Let me
Yeah. No.
tell you, they get a lot of, oh God. If you work for Goodwill, you cannot purchase anything unless it's been on the floor for 3 days and everything has a date on it,
Hmm.
except for new goods. New goods you can purchase at any time. So the hardest part about working there was seeing all the stuff come on the floor and knowing you can't touch it for
I
3.
would not. That would kill me.
Well, and I was the enforcer on the 3 days. They at the one store they said that's your job, and I was like, oh, I don't want that job because I can't do it. Now another thing I got. Do not laugh again. Are my little skull mugs. It came through
No,
again.
I've got I've got one.
Goodwill. It
Yep.
was a new item. I did wait for it to go on sale because we had a couple of them at the store, so I got it for half price. I got 4 of them for half price. And
Right.
they're glass. They're a good heavy. It's a heavy glass.
Yeah.
And they're adorable. They're absolutely adorable. But I paid like maybe $1 a glass for them.
Yeah, we always look for glassware. And this was something that I recently found. And also like your little mom and pop like thrift stores, those are really good. So I just found this and people don't realize what they're donating either.
That's what I said. A lot of kids donate their parents' stuff, or a friend dies and you donate crap and you don't know what you're donating. And I'm in
Oh,
the back going, oh my gosh, look what we got, you know. Ah, look at that Geo. Oh,
this,
girl.
I think, I don't know if the light catches it, but it's like a light blue. I
Yeah,
want to, and I need Miranda, but I want to say it's like blue lace agate, maybe. I'm not sure.
probably. Yeah. That's what it
But
looks like.
this was $2.
$2. $2.
$2. $2. Yep. It's like a big, I mean, it's like this, it's the size of
You
my
know how much you pay for those if you go to a stone or a crystal store?
and it's, I'm sure it was like a paperweight or something, but you can use this, people. And I've shown this before, one of my, and it doesn't, my pride and one of my pride and joys.
I know, I love that.
The witch profile, and then it's got the Wicked Witch and the flying monkeys. $1.99, people.
Oh
A
my God.
dollar 99. And
Now, Halloween is coming up.
mhm,
This is the time you need to start looking.
yes, and also things that you may not think about. Books. I found this at a Goodwill. Tarot.
Girl,
Yeah, yeah.
five, 10 cents.
I know. You
It's
guys don't know
plastic, but it's a fun.
it still. And then I
Now,
found this one, Nordic Gods and Heroes.
oh, nice.
And it's a little beat up, but I mean, you find little gem. And I found the witch's hammer in a thrift store for $1. The Malleus Maleficarum, $1. Yep.
2.98,
Yes.
and it's a mortar and pestle, and it's small. I mean, I like the big ones, but the small ones are so much easier to work with.
I do like the small ones.
Now, I tell people, okay, some people like to use silver and
Hmm.
silver castware. I don't, because I don't like cleaning it because I'm lazy. Okay, I'm sorry. This, it came like this. It still has the tag on it, and I'm going to see if I can get it. It's $1.98,
Wow.
and I'm going to pull it out of the cover. I've had it in the cover since I've had it.
I have friends. Don't mind my friends in the background.
Oh, they're
It's,
just adding to the joy. But something like this, if you really want your altar to look, if you have it for a special occasion for two
yeah,
bucks,
for sure. And another thing, when so we're talking about not just thrifting, but witching on a budget. Go to your dollar stores, people.
oh
You
my
want to talk
gosh.
about seasonal stuff. I mean, you can get decorations for your altars. You can get stuff for Austera when Easter's comes around. Like you were saying, Halloween's coming up. Get your stuff. Like
Oh yeah. At the
everything.
dollar stores where I get all like the all of these are from the dollar store. They're just black roses.
Get
She's trying to help you.
yeah.
Like
They're,
I said, people don't know what they're giving away. This is
she's.
actually a Harry Potter wand.
I know. Isn't
I
that
got for $2. Now, if you're into candle holders, and I say that because we're witches, and of course we have 4 million candles just because we do.
yes?
Pop something here and something's going to happen and it's going to scare me. Um, oh my gosh, this thing's covered in wax. I use them a lot. These
Yeah.
little, like different kinds, especially if you want a god and goddess, or if you're doing special spell work and you have a special candle that you want to use, the little candle holders there, you cannot beat the price
Yes.
for them.
And I'm so mad. I found one at a thrift store. It was for the chime candles, but it was like this elaborate kind of chandelier, and it fits like six of them. But it's oh, and I got it for like $4, but it's heavy.
All
You
right.
guys are gonna see my cats fighting. They always
Now,
do.
you remember I gifted for the last illustration for the silent auction. I found
Yes.
another one.
Oh my gosh, that is
Anybody who does Aphrodite, now Aphrodite is my goddess. I'll just let y'all
yes.
know that ahead of time. It is filthy because as you can see, it's got all kinds of stuff. I use it, so it's
Right.
dirty because it's used. But when you clean these up, I sent Mike Neal actually one of these and two. Um, what do you want to call these, steins or goblets?
Yeah.
I called them chalices, and they sold them at the silent auction. Now he
Hmm.
got a really good price for it. This one cost me $3, two
Wow.
ninety eight. I was heartbroken. It needs to be cleaned up. We know
Yes.
that, but for if you're doing now, if you have a group and you meet, just imagine this with God and Goddess candles on it,
I know.
and I would put offerings in here.
Yes.
So, I mean,
Never seen stuff like that here.
if you have a big altar or you're doing a big gathering, like at a lustration or something, this is something that you want. This is, and okay, you pay $3 for it. Even if you stuff it in a drawer and use it once a year, it's only $3. Now, we witches love our boxes and we love to keep stuff in storage. These are actually ceramic. I paid $5 for it. It was $4.98. I have four of these.
Those
Uh,
are cute.
they're all different. They're all painted up. Um, I got this one and I have a couple others, but the drawers are ceramic, 100% ceramic. So no matter what you put in them, if it goes bad or spoils or whatever, you can actually wash them.
That's awesome.
And that's
And
one
yeah,
of
and you can use stuff like that for little crystals. You can have, if you have those little mini cork bottles, you can have little thimbles of like herbs and all
these are
sorts.
great for your herbs if you have,
Yeah.
because you actually have room here to put a little sticker about what herb it is. Now I have a
Yeah.
different set that I use for my herbs. I haven't used this one yet, but the other three I have are full of crap because I
Yeah.
just you put stuff in them and it's easier to keep it. But
Yeah.
little stuff like this, you just have to look. And while we're talking about on a budget, I just love when I get the witches who just start and they come in and they have the $400 wand and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this is my Harry Potter and I only paid $2 for it. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, come on. But
Right.
you don't, and that's the first thing when I have my students, and I'm a mentor for quite a number of years. The first thing I tell them to do, if you buy anything and you haven't paid half price for it, I won't talk to you.
Right.
Go to the thrift store, even if you get something like this, or the dollar store. Dollar store, because um, Goodwill, their lowest price is $1.18.
Yeah.
So for 18 cents less, and we're talking 18 cents here, you can go to the dollar store and get brand new.
Right.
When I taught classes, I would have everybody go to the dollar store or to a thrift store and find the most unique goblet they could find.
Hmm.
Acid etched them because you can buy acid etch at Michael's, Joann's, any of the stores. You can buy it online. You can put your designs, and you can get witchy designs through. Um,
Mm.
you pull it off and you put it on, and then you put the acid on it. You let it sit, then you pull it off and wash it, and it acid etches it. And then you could actually color it.
That is cool.
And I used to do classes. I used to do acid etching classes, and that was part of my class. For you learn to make your own um, chalice, however you wanted to make it. I mean, we did glass, then we did wand making. We made a besom, so we made a lot of our ritual tools. I do not make knives because it's a pain in the rear, but
No.
yeah, your knives and your athames and your bowlings, just buy.
Yes.
But
To your point, for the Dollar Tree, just or Dollar Store, excuse me, Dollar
either
Tree.
one.
They're well, they just closed down our Dollar General, and they're bringing in a Dollar Tree to
Oh,
replace.
okay. Well, all right. You can
So I'm
survive.
like, oh, I'm excited. I like Dollar Tree better. Um, so some ideas, if you don't go a lot, some ideas are, as you said, there's a ton of candles at the dollar store, candle holders. You have now you have where they're selling the incense oils and the incense. And they also have bags of the stones
That
that
you
you
can
can,
actually make your own runes with. That's where I
yes,
come up for.
you can make your own runes with it. Absolutely. I've done that before. And also, you can do, and they have like the little glass beads you can even do, like the runes with. So there's a lot of different things. So they have, also, we already talked about a seasonal item, matches and lighters. Um,
The biggest thing is you have to go into the stores.
yes,
And I know with COVID around, people are still a little iffy. But if you get a chance, go into the Dollar Tree, dollar store, whatever they're called in your neighborhood. Everything's
right.
a dollar. My problem is I never walk out for under 15 or $20.
Yeah.
Um, but I go in for the seasonal items. And you're right. I bought little eggs for Astara, and I still have them. I
Oh, I
got,
always do. Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Home,
all the stuff that you
especially
need.
like Yule. That's the only place I buy my wrapping paper from.
Right.
Because
And
you just
if
get a ton of rolls.
the neat thing too is if you walk through it and you're in your witchy mind, like you
Mm.
got it, it's like a little switch, I
That's
call it.
and that's why I wanted to bring these up in case you don't realize all the things you can get. And also they have those mirrors, and sometimes they're the mirrors with the candle holders, so you can do scrying.
I just did a scrying mirror. I bought the frame at the dollar store. I got two for $1 because they were small. Sometimes
Right.
you get the smaller ones for two for $1.
And they're considered candle holders.
Right. I used
They're a little small. Yep, they're
hot
little.
paint on that thing, and girl, I got a scrying mirror. I actually bought a frame. It was a glass frame, and I painted the back, put it together. I have a scrying, and you have to flip your witchy switch on when you go in there. You have to be in that mind frame because then you start seeing all this stuff for your altar.
And you're like, ooh, and I didn't realize
Oh,
that.
yeah, I can use that. And especially if you have children, and been there, done that, and I know you got them. If you buy something at the dollar store and it gets broke, you're not heartbroken over it.
Right.
I
You're
don't
not
really
like,
care. It's a dollar. You know, my little glass, my little plastic glass got crushed. I'd be crushed. No, it's a buck.
yes.
It's a
And
fun
that's
thing
the
to have.
thing. It is, it is. And also, aside from shopping, there's things that you can use that are free that you can add to your altar that a lot of people don't think about. Because, especially, we've talked about before with the trendy, witch talk and all these other things that are coming out, and all these brands coming out with makeup lines and everything. Now, we've talked about before, you can go for a walk and pick up rocks on your way, on your trail. You can also use wildflowers on your altar. Like, you don't have to go buy flowers
Your
necessarily.
wand can be a limb from a fallen tree, and always ask the tree's permission to take
Mhm.
that limb. But there you go, you've got your wand,
And
elderberry
also
wand.
your finger,
Your
like,
finger's a great one, but
yeah.
there's so much that you can get at the dollar stores and inexpensively. Um, when I was first starting out that many years ago,
Mhm.
you didn't have that, and you had to buy. You felt like you had to buy because it was hard to find anything with a pentacle on it or a pentagram
Oh, yeah, yeah.
because 50 years ago, it just didn't happen.
Mhm.
Nowadays, they're even doing witchy stuff year round in the dollar
Oh,
stores.
yeah.
And don't think you have to buy it. If you go in and see it, and you go, oh, I got that stuff at home. Man, I could put that together in 30 minutes. That's another reason I like to shop different stores during the holidays, just to go in
Mhm.
and see what
And
they have.
apparently, another store that's getting really witchy, I've heard, and I still have yet to go in it, is Five Below, which
Yes,
is,
there is.
yeah, and they have like all sorts of moon stuff and all sorts of
Moon stuff, star
different
stuff.
chakra stuff. Yeah, like incense, all sorts of stuff. I
Um,
need.
Michael's, Joanne's. I don't shop Hobby Lobby, so I really couldn't tell you, but I do Michael's, Joann's, AC Moore, which is not around anymore. That used to be big in Baltimore. But a
Yeah.
lot of that stuff, you go in and you look at it, and it's like, oh, I got all that stuff at home. I can do that.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily going in to buy.
Hmm.
You go in and you see what's trending, what's going on. Seriously, you walk into Joann Fabrics and their stuff is expensive. I'm not going to lie to you, but I see some of this stuff and I'm like, well, hang it, I can take a piece of galvanized bucket and make that myself, and I've
Right.
done it.
Yeah.
So always keep that in mind, that, and it doesn't have to be a single purpose item, and you can repurpose anything.
Yeah. And also, you can find a lot of herbs. You don't have to go buy bulk herbs. You can find a lot of herbs in your backyard. Like you can use acorns, you can use dandelions. You can just make sure, because of pesticides and things like
Yeah,
that.
what you got. But the dollar stores now have seeds in them. You can actually buy,
I bought a whole gardening thing for my kids from the Dollar Tree. Like a
yeah,
whole thing. They had the clay pots, they had the seeds, they even had a little set that had like a little rake and like a little hoe and a little sprinkler can. Like it's ridiculous. And also you can use feathers, like we have ducks and geese. You can find feathers,
all
you know,
over the ground.
you don't have to go buy a fancy feather that's a pretty iridescent color. You know what I
Now,
mean?
if you're into, and we just had to do this for our the shaman class I'm taking. We had to make a dream catcher.
Oh,
Okay,
cool.
4 million dream catchers.
Mm,
So, I mean, you can go to the dollar store to buy your stuff for your dream catcher. They actually have the kits.
yeah, they do.
So, I really push when I first started, when I started teaching in the Correllian tradition about 15, 20 years ago. I had a student who had more money than brains and would go out and, I mean, this guy paid $200 for a wand. I was like,
I
I
mean, like I said, not judging, to each his own, but it's totally not necessary.
well,
It's totally not necessary.
and then of course, here is me. And my father used to say as a child, I could make a nickel cry. I would make a Scotsman a good wife because I could make a nickel cry.
That's awesome.
Um, but it's okay. I teach on a budget because that's
Right.
what most people are on. The reality is, if you had that much money, you wouldn't have to worry. But for the
Exactly.
rest of us, I mean, there for a while, $50 out of my budget was like, crunch time.
I know.
And you've got to, and the other thing is really important for people is when you do your crafting and all that stuff and you get your holidays, if you buy little tubs to put the holiday for your
Mm.
altar, Halloween, and
It
what,
helps you keep things so much more organized.
not
Absolutely.
only organize, it keeps them safe and keeps them from getting all messed up. So you only buy them one time.
And also, another thing I wanted to point out. So we're talking about. Let's just go back a minute to the beginner. That might be new to the path or interested. You can. You also need to think about. You can use a white candle and substitute that for any candle. And
Perfect.
we've talked about that before. You can use a clear quartz, same thing. It's all about the intention and how you program it. So I wanted to go over some substitutes really quick because the white candle we've talked about, the clear quartz, rosemary can also be substituted for any herb that you're using in a spell.
You can grow it out in your yard and it'll grow like crazy.
Yes, and we talked about that one. That was our herb of the week last week. Rose can be substitute for any flower. Um, Olive oil can be substituted for any oil. So if you want to like dress your candles, and let's just say you want to get into that ritual or learning, you can use rosemary and olive oil. You know what I mean? And still with a white candle and still set your
Add a little
intention.
vinegar to that, and you've got a great dip.
There you go. There you go. And also, common sage can be used for any incense. So there's some basics that you can kind of use starting out.
Okay, if you go in your kitchen, I just taught a class on this for DJ for his group. Last minute, he asked me if I could, someone couldn't make it, could I teach a protection herb class? And I was like, sure. And the four herbs I used was rose, rosemary, cinnamon, and
Ooh,
mugwort. Three of those I have sitting in my cabinet that I cook with.
yes.
Hello? If you're cooking with bay leaves, you can use it in a spell. It's sitting in your kitchen.
And you segued perfectly into the next thing that I found that I wanted to talk about.
Oh,
Grocery store magic.
oh yes.
So you don't even realize, so not just herbs, but like your vegetables and things like that. So I wanted to touch on a few things because I thought this was too cool to not share. So lemons, limes, and oranges can be used in candle magic in many different ways. You, including filling them with oil, and I think a lot of us have seen that, like on the Pinterest, the crafts,
Yeah, when you take the and
and making them into candles. Yeah. You can also stick a taper or a bell candle into a lemon or a lime and load it with herbs and oils and burn the candle this way so that the wax is going on. That's another way. You can also squeeze the juice out of lemons and limes and use in your cleansing baths or your floor washes or your door wash. And, set the intention like we talked about before, what good things the lemon would be good for. But potatoes and onions is the next thing. So potatoes can be loaded with herbs and buried or thrown into a river to rid yourself of enemies and negative energies. Same with onions. And you can also cut an onion in half and put it in a brown paper bag and put it under your kitchen sink to absorb negative energies. So I thought that was interesting. And you can also place it under a bed to soak up an illness, is
take
what
your
it's.
apples, cut them in half long ways. Open
Mhm.
it up. You get this pentagram when you do that. Apple and bay leaf are great for protection. You can run around your yard with it and put.
Yes.
When we did the lustration back in 2006, I actually went the perimeter of the camp with bay leaves and apples to
Mm.
protect the
Yeah,
perimeter of the camp.
absolutely.
And apples you can buy for what? Nothing. The
Right.
other thing is you're cooking in your kitchen. You have all of your herbs. After a year, they're kind of not so good for cooking, but they're good for 3 years for magic.
Others.
Just
Exactly.
move it from your kitchen to your magic shelf.
Yep, and there's also, so speaking of that, you can get the fresh herbs from your produce section. They'll have them anywhere, or you
Oh,
can do the dried. But garlic, ginger, and garlic are effective in magic and medicinal teas. We talked about that. Now you talked about vinegar a minute ago, so I wanted to talk about that. So with the cooking oils, you can actually use that as a witchcraft ingredient. Like we talked about the olive oil, you can use to dress the candles, your altar tools. Coconut oil is good also for literally everything.
everything.
Every vinegar, so apple cider vinegar is one of the really good ones to use. It's also a folk remedy staple, which you probably know.
For
um,
everything.
it's great for, yeah, great for warding off colds, stimulating hair growth, cleansing negative energy, and it's apple cider vinegar is so cheap for a huge bottle, a huge bottle.
Well, if you live where there's iron water, I grew up with iron water, and the only way to get the soap out of your hair was to rinse it with vinegar.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I grew up rinsing my hair with vinegar.
Yep. And then there's wine, of course. And you can use that as an offering to the gods, which a lot of us do in ritual. Um, Now, there's also the baking and spices. So for sugar, that also has another long history in folk magic, used to sweeten one's favor or a tough situation that someone's going through.
Sweeten
And
a love too. You can use it
yes,
in love magic a lot. And
yeah,
puppets. They're good
abs-
for puppets.
yes. And you can also add rose petals or other herbs to the sugar, and you can use it for baking and also teas. And you can sprinkle around candles to sweeten the spell as well. And of course, sugar is dumb cheap. I mean, it's
Yeah, you can't go wrong with sugar.
right. There was a couple few I wanted to go over. Oh, pie tins. So if you don't, I mean, we talked about the Dollar Tree, but you can also use pie tins as a candle holder.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, and they're recyclable.
What I
Um,
tell people, if you're going to do a spell and leave a candle burn for a period of time, get a go to the dollar store. You can get like two buckets for $1. They're metal. Get the metal ones. Sand out in your yard or dirt. Put your candle in it, it'll burn all the way down. Now, people do it in water, but sometimes the water can slosh and can spill. That
yes.
that little can that you they're two for $1. And
Mhm.
if you wait for the holidays, they have them in every holiday. They have Easter ones, they have Christmas ones,
Right.
Valentine's ones. So you can buy them or you can buy the plain ones. Put dirt or sand in them. Put the candle in it. It can burn all the chime candles, the little ones,
The little
or
ones.
birthday candles. If you want to use birthday candles instead of chime candles, that's a
That's
big
what
saving.
I was gonna say. You can always use birthday candles as well,
But
and they even have them in the different colors if you wanna have
if
the
you
colors to
want to do your
match your.
colors, yep. But make sure you put them in that, and they're not going to shift. They're not going to do anything. You put them in the middle of like a table or something, and it'll burn all the way down. And I can almost guarantee you're not going to have a problem that way. It's so
Exactly.
much safer than just a candle in a holder. It's
Exactly.
too
Exactly.
easy. Now your chime candles. This is this is what gets me. If you go to Party City
Hmm.
or order them online like I do at Party City, you can get 20 for like $8.
Oh, dang.
Now, if you go into a new age store and you
Yeah.
will pay up to 25 cents for a candle.
Oh, I know. Yeah. It's
So
crazy.
I go and I buy 20 chime candles for like $8
That's,
in the
yeah.
colors. And I have my little stash because since I do it online, I mean, I do a lot of candle work, so it's
Yeah.
easy for me. And I make a lot of my own candles, but I buy the little chime candles because I can't make them cheaper
Yeah.
than
And
$8 for
also,
20.
yeah. And there's so many things um, that you can do. And you just have to look for it. If you go on and like you said, rainwater, you could use rainwater for so many
Rainwater is
different
very
things.
special to use for magic.
And
Um,
also the different types of rainwater. Like there's a different energy in just a rain and a thunderstorm.
we've had some good
And
storms move through here lately, so
it's very
and then you
different.
just charge it. You put it on your windowsill during a full moon, you let it charge, and you've got your blessed water to use for anything.
Hmm.
I mean, people have to stop. I really emphasize using stuff that you already have at home because
Yes.
it's already got your energy in it. I mean, like the anything you have, this silly cup that I bought. I mean, okay, I paid whatever for it. I've
I,
used it
I have one like that.
2 years. I've used this thing, and I love it. It's fun.
It's
It's
fun.
creepy. I put wine in it. I'll put soda in it just because it's cool. Um,
Yeah.
but I've had it for that long, so it's got all my energy in it.
Right.
So it's
And also,
already active.
also if you're wanting herbs, let's just say you want chamomile or something like that, go to your tea aisle. You can cut open those tea bags. I mean, depending on how much you need, you usually don't need that much, but if you're really, I mean, that could last you a long time right there.
But a lot of times too, you can go to the stores and you can get the herbs either fresh or dried for almost
Right.
nothing. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
it's a couple bucks, and you're going like, I have a problem. Okay, it's just like 50 years ago, you couldn't find anything witchy. You really could. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was
Okay. Yeah.
damn difficult.
Yeah.
Now it's like everybody's trying to make a buck off of it.
Right. Yeah.
And it's almost like if you have, and I joke about this, if you are into airplanes or into boats, if they put aero or marine in front of those, this is an earring, and if I put marine in front of it, I can jack the price at least double.
Right. Right.
So a lot of that now they're putting witch in front of it or new age or whatever, and they're charging you twice the price. I mean, 25 cents for a chime candle? Really?
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is like just do your research because there are unfortunately people out there that's going to take advantage, especially um, with the rise in popularity of everything. And you have to be careful even with like tarot readings and things like that. There's so
Oh,
many
it's
scams out there, but just and that's another thing. Don't be in a rush to get like a tarot deck. See if that's even the divination for you. It may not be. You may be way more into runes or tea leaf readings or pendulums
palmistry or whatever. I mean, the
or
big thing is, yeah, head bumps. That's one on me. I never got through that class. But the whole thing is 90% of your tools should be made by you
Mhm.
because you're putting your energy into it. Now, if somebody manufactures, now these are hard to make, let's be honest. So I bought
Right.
it, but I put my energy into it. But when you make your own stuff, or you buy something that you create for that, I bought this cup to use for a Samhain ritual.
Yeah.
Okay, because we're talking about our ancestors. This is the ancestor. So I bought it. Okay, I paid 50 cents for it.
Mhm.
Um, but I've used it several times in different rituals and at different gatherings and
Right.
groups. So it's got all of my energy and it's got me in it. So don't be so, I mean, if you get a good deal, like my knife, like my Azame here, if you get a good deal, get it. I'm not going to say not to, but don't run out and think that you have to buy an altar and you have to fill it
No.
with all of these wonderful, beautiful things.
Mm-mm.
The neatest altars I've ever seen were ones that people have hand done. And it's
Yep.
just so beautiful because,
Well, even like during the fall,
oh,
if me and the kids see like well in Florida we don't get the colors down here.
no, we don't.
We'll get lucky if there's certain trees that the colors will change, but nothing like a you know New Hampshire, Vermont, or anything like that. But so every now and then when we see like that really bright colored red leaf or orange leaf, we'll collect those for Mabon or for the
Even for
altar.
Samhain, that's beautiful for
Yeah,
Samhain.
Darwin as well, yeah. And so there's so many different things you could do that you don't have to overthink it so much. You do not have to overthink it.
And don't go out and feel like you have to buy.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
Crafting your own stuff makes you in charge of it.
Hmm.
So it's your idea,
Right.
what
And
you
there's been a
want.
few things that I've crafted, but and of course not everyone is crafty. But so by no means are we saying if you buy instead of create, it doesn't make it any less powerful. But it is important to get your energy on things, cleanse and set your intention, but it can be so easy. And also, there's a book out that I really enjoy by Deborah Blake, and you can find it online. And I believe it's called Witchcraft on a Shoestring.
Yes.
And yeah, I wanted to grab it because I have it in my bookshelf, but I forgot to grab it. Um, and as you can see, I'm in my living room tonight. um,
The one
so
thing too about books, I'm going to tell you now, you can spend a
witchcraft on.
fortune on books. Let
Mhm.
me impart a little wisdom to you. There are places that sell used books,
Yes.
abookstores.com. abebooks.com. Okay. You can
That's
get
why I said online and not
that.
a specific place.
That is my favorite bookstore. That
Yeah,
really is. Um, I have a lot of books, but every once in a while I'll lend one or two out. They never quite make it back, so I have to replace.
yeah,
And when I do the replace, I will usually go to a bookstore because I can get a decent price for replacement because I've already spent it. Um, I find that I am one of those people that collects books. I really love my books. I love
yeah,
to be
me too.
able to pick up a book, smell it. I'm one of those people.
Yeah, me too.
So my books, everybody's like, you've got so many. How do you afford it? I afford it by ordering at Abe's, or I go to the local
Right.
bookstores that have used books.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of the thrift stores are carrying used books. You can get them really cheap there. There are other ways in Baltimore, not so much here. Baltimore's a huge pagan community. As people leave the traditions, and people do, they
Yeah,
grow and they're like, okay, this is not for me anymore. I would get phone calls from people I didn't even know, of course, because my name was everywhere.
right.
And they would drop off witchy supplies at like, I'm just not into it anymore here, and give me a box of goodies, and I go, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, and I run like hell with them. Um,
And this is the book.
and it's really a good book.
It really, really is because this book also has recipes in it. It has crafts. It has different things. It's not only giving you ideas of what you can get for tools, but it actually shows you how you can do actual spells. It has actual spells, actual rituals, and things you can do for nothing.
Pennies
And
on a dollar.
yeah, I really recommend that book. I really do.
Especially if you're just starting out. Please don't go out and spend $400 on your witch area. You know,
And like I said, for me, we don't all fit in a box. I mean, a lot of us are on this path because we don't fit in a box. But if if we're all pagan, we're still not in a box because what may be right for you is not going to be the same as me. And especially when you're starting out, you may not always know what's going to speak to you. So
right.
if you're
And there's
going and
so
blowing a
many
bunch of money,
traditions.
oh yeah.
If you're
For,
going eclectic, are you going Celtic? Are you going Egyptian? Or maybe you're going Norse?
hmm.
Ooh, okay. So before you make those dead decisions, practice. See
Yeah.
what calls to you. Now, as far as altars go, I'm going to tell you, people have spent fortunes on altars.
I
My
know.
altar that I've had for 20 years is actually holding my light. It holds.
Yes.
It is an old piece of wood that I actually screwed legs into it and I drew a big pentacle on it.
That's yeah, and that's all
Now,
it takes.
can you even see it? If I no,
No.
it's got so much crap on it. I put everything on it. The actual altar I have now is an old secretary that I paid
I love that.
$25 for. Everybody loves it. You saw how ugly it was when I got it. It was
Yeah.
brown with pink flowers. Oh, it was hideous. It is now silver and purple and black.
Yes. It's
And I paid $35, $25 for it. Sorry. I paid $25. It has three drawers and a secretary opens.
down right. Like
If
a
you ever come on to, I'm going to see if I can tip this down a little bit. Yeah. This
yeah.
is my altar here. If you're on Virtual Circle, the altar you see on Virtual Circle is my altar. Um, I paid $25 for it and I painted it. It sits, it closes up. I have all my crap in it because you're going to start, believe it or not, you're going to start picking up a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Dollar here, 50 cent here. You're going to, before you get to where you're comfortable with what you have, you're going to buy stuff and not use it. My recommendation is if you don't use it, have a little box, put it in the box. Either redonate it or
Mhm.
donate it to somebody who's also learning.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
Exactly.
nothing wrong with bringing your extra witchy stuff. in, or if you're Corellian, you get a hold of Mike Neal because he does the silent auctions. And you might think, oh, no one's going to pay for this. Somebody's going to see that. I mean, we freely give to Mike
Yeah.
because you'll see something on there, and goodness knows I've spent enough money on the auctions. But you're going to see something on there that's going to appeal to you. But if you do your little box, then you can go to your local Wiccan group or pagan group and say, I started maybe Egyptian, and so I have all this Egyptian stuff. Would somebody like it?
Yeah.
And somebody will go head over heels, and you will be their savior because they can't afford to go out and buy this stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever you don't use, you don't necessarily have to throw it away. Put it in a little
No.
box. I used to get the boxes all the time. I'm Corellian, but they would call me from all over and say, "Hey, I have this box of stuff," and they would drop it by my house. So we would network. I'd be on the phone. I got a whole box of Egyptian stuff one time.
Amazing.
So my friend Isis, I was on the phone with her. I said, "Look, the next meetup, we were meeting in a couple weeks. I said, look, next meetup, I have this box full of Egyptian stuff. I'm going to give it to you. You know Egyptians, you can disperse it." So I
Right.
walked into the meeting, I handed it to her, and she was like, oh, somebody was just asking me for if I knew where I could get an ISIS, no, it wasn't a TAW.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, okay. She said, this is perfect. And so when you gift it, you're
Yeah.
gifting that extra magic with it that you
Ab-
put into it. So it makes it that much more special. But please don't feel like you got to go out and spend $400 at, I don't know, somebody's store online because they're
no.
Wiccan. No, no, no.
No. Don't
I
do
I avoid that like the plague. I mean, I have been on some of those sites and I've had my sticker shock. Um,
shit.
yeah, I'm like, excuse me, and then I head right down to the thrift store and I'm good. It's a dose of reality,
Yeah.
and I can tell you, after 50 years in this game, nothing comes across. People come in and they're like, even my altar that I do the show with is
Yeah.
a put together altar. It is not anything super special or anything. It's just,
My altar is something that I've is a changing table. It was
mm,
after Fiona had already gotten out of that stage, and so I'd already gotten rid of all that type of stuff. But on Swip Swap, there was a changing table, and it was $20, and it's wooden, and it has the flat surface because you have the little pillow that you put the baby on, so all of that is flat, and then it has two or three shelves on the side
oh,
so
for
that
all your stuff. Yeah.
yeah. And then all I do is I have like a little tapestry, and I like have it hanging down so it kind of covers because there's no drawers, it's just shelves. But oh yeah, and I have it's like this big flat surface for all of
Wow.
and it's portable. I mean, in the sense of if you move. Now, one last thing I wanted to touch on before we wrap up. Um, you can also do the travel altars or the mini altars if you don't have space. If you do not have space, because a lot of people don't, you can get, even the little Altoid tins I've seen with a book of matches and
The
a
birthday
little
candles.
teen, yeah, and the birthday candles, and like a little I had like little baggies with salt in it. It had, different things like that. And a little seashell to represent, different things to represent the elements and things like that. It's not as hard as you think. Um, but even something like that, even
And think
starting,
about if you can't have an altar in your house, you can still have an altar on a bookshelf because you can
Mhm.
just put things on different shelves.
before I
No
got
one
the
can figure it
changing
out.
table, before I got the changing table, the bookshelf you always see behind me was my altar because I did not have room for that. Plus, where I did have room in our old house, it was like in the living area, and it's like, I don't want to have like an altar as soon as you walk in the front door.
Right. And for people who are not out, so to speak, if you take, and I've seen it done a lot of nice different ways, just
Oh,
your a bookshelf and just adjust everything, east, north,
mhm.
west, south, and put it all on different shelves, and it just looks like an eclectic collection of things that you have on a shelf. And
Yeah,
nobody's the wiser if you are in that position where you can't do that. Just remember, it's your altar is a reflection of you.
yeah, exactly.
And
So don't.
I fell into the secretary because I was looking for something to put all my crap in because I had a beautiful altar at one time, but it was a glass table, a mirror table, and it
Yeah.
broke moving down here.
Oh
So
my God.
I was without an altar and I was like, oh my gosh, I got to do something. And my
Yeah.
little altar is only about yay high. That is part of my altar to go. It's the
Yeah.
table, and I have a little bag, a little overnight, like a Coach bag that I put all this stuff in, and I zip it up, and I take that, and the two pieces go, and
Yeah.
this has traveled with me all over the country.
And also in the little Altoid tin, it was like a little stick of Palo Santo. So you can do it for smudging. I mean, there's so many different
There's
things.
so many. You don't have to go out and do that huge, you know, out there.
I
But
know.
I really I fell into this one, and when I they asked me to do virtual circle, I had already had this and painted it, and I was like, well, I could.
I remember when you painted it because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so freaking jealous. It's like, that's so
And it was in
oh
shape.
yeah, I know.
I have the pictures before and after, but you don't have to go that far. You can, and if you're going to do something like that, you look on the local paper who's getting rid of those things because they're hideous,
Right.
and nobody likes them anymore. So this woman was just trying to unload, and she's like, "You really want to pay that much more?" I was ecstatic because it's sturdy, it's wood, it's very
Right.
sturdy made, but I was like, "Oh, wait till I get it home." So I actually did. After I painted it, I did send her a picture of it because I was trying to explain to her, well, I'm going to use it
Yeah.
for something.
She
Yeah,
did.
you don't want to come out and say you're a witch. But when I
Right.
sent it to her and she answered me back, she says, oh, that makes the most beautiful altar. And I was like, bingo.
Huh, there you go.
I didn't know she was paying it. She's probably mad now that she's sold it to me because she would
Yeah.
have done the same thing. But
Didn't it?
don't go out and spend a whole lot. Dollar store.
Yeah.
I have a beautiful bouquet of black roses.
Hmm.
Okay, dollar store. All right, I bought them. I don't know how many years ago. Um, Wrapped them with a silver thing, put them on my hair, and that's been on the wall forever.
Yeah.
So kind of look at what you have around your house already. Like I said, herbs.
And
Go to your kitchen.
even like decorations like the Black Hat Society behind you, they have stuff like that at the Dollar Tree at Halloween time. They have all sorts of stuff like that. I
25 cents
Yeah, I get all that stuff.
yard sale. Uh,
Yes.
Yard sale. Um, most of my this is terrible. Most of my stuff is actually yard sale stuff because
And
that's
that's perfect too.
I go. Um, but these kind of little things, the other catch is right after the holiday, everything goes on sale 50% off. Valentine's, Mother's Day, Father's Day, all of the holidays have that sale.
Right.
Halloween is the same way. Now, you want a black robe or you want a robe, check with some of the thrift stores because they do get material in and they sell it really super cheap. If nothing else, Joanne sells their stuff, the holiday Halloween stuff, and so does Walmart at
Mm-hmm.
50% off November 1st. So you can
Yeah.
start saving your money now. It
Right.
takes about 10 yards to make a good robe. That's with big sleeves and full. I mean, if you're a big girl like me, you need
Right.
something big. It's about 10 yards. So now is the time to start putting a couple bucks away here and there because when this stuff goes on sale,
Mm-hmm.
you can get it. Down
Really.
here, it's so hot. Um, I like the shears, but
Yeah.
you can do whatever. But just wait till after the holiday. After Halloween is when I load up on the black candles. I load up on
Yeah.
um, because they'll have the black, they'll have the orange. Sometimes you can get the purple ones.
Hmm.
Then
Yeah,
Christmas,
there's a ton. Absolutely.
and at Christmas is where you get your silver and gold candles for almost nothing at the dollar store because they put them on 50% sale. So that's
Hmm.
when you pick those puppies up
And
because
your
the
red and
silver
your
and
green.
gold are more expensive. Yeah, and your red and your green and your whites because
Mhm.
they those are all Christmas colors. So
Yeah.
if you wait till after the holiday and you start loading up, then when you go to the holiday the next year, you've got everything and it's not that high initial outlay. Because if you were to go to the store and buy it, it's at least twice as much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like we said, I mean, we've said it several times tonight. You don't have to buy high. You just do what you can. Garage, thrift, yard sales, all of that.
Get it
Um,
as another witch. Because a lot
yeah.
of times you can buy stuff, if you buy the chime candles, 20 of them,
Mhm.
$8. I'll go four, you go four. We get 10 candles apiece. Those 10 candles will last
Exactly.
you a good while.
There you go. Absolutely. Teamwork makes the dream work. And also, last week we did not do a keyword of the week, as we said we were gonna. We were skipping that week because we did our little rerun. So the week before that, the keyword was dreams, and we had a couple people email us for the keyword. So the winner for I did the little
Trying to read
spinny.
her name.
Oh yeah, I did the little spinny wheel, and so Charisse or Carice, Carisse. Congratulations. You are the winner of a Tea Time mug. So I will be following up with you by email to get the address that you would like it sent to. And if you would like, we would love if you want to post a picture on our Facebook page with you in the mug or just the mug and some sort of background where you are, as far as like a forest or something pretty like a backdrop. But this week's keyword is going to be thrifting or thrift. And you can email that keyword to teatimemc@gmail.com. And that's THYME, like the herb, not telling time. And then we will spin next time for a winner.
And just keep in mind anybody who does sew or craft, and if you don't, a lot of times they'll be willing to show you or willing to do something for a very inexpensive price.
Absolutely.
Because I know that's a big thing with a lot of people are their robes, the stoles, all the accoutrements that go with it. I know it can be expensive.
Hmm.
Um, my robe is 20 years old now.
Yeah.
I'm not parting with it. I've already,
No.
no, I
No
will
shit.
die with that thing. Well, my robe got used a lot by the curling tradition when I got my first degree because it was such a nice big, because I'm big, and it has, the sleeves that touch the ground. When I wore it to the lustration at the Gray Elephant, a lot of the members who are no longer with us anymore that are in the Summerland wore it. So it's very special to me. But if you find someone who does so, such as myself, or there's a lot that do, um, you can make a deal. And it doesn't have to be a money, it can be a barter deal. Uh,
Exactly.
and I caution everybody about buying anything. It's, if you can make it, it's so much better. If you can't, there are classes all over. And a lot of us old
Oh
witches,
yeah.
when I teach my physical class with my students, we do have arts, what they call arts and crafts. We make our own stuff because not only is it cheaper, it's so much fun. We get so silly making it, but it's also you're putting all that energy in it that's your own.
Yeah.
So find your creative. Everybody's got a little creativity in them. Find out what you can do. Um,
Absolutely.
and someone will help you. I mean, it's never like anybody go, "Oh, you're going to make that? Oh my god!"
No.
Usually, it's like, "Oh my god, you're
It's
going to make that!"
yeah, it's definitely a plus.
And with
But
your
we could go
kids,
on and on. Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely another idea, and we've talked about that before. If you incorporate the kids and do the crafting with the kids, you can make all sorts of things for, altars and all sorts of things for tools. And if you are someone that's sewing, you can do little, like you said, little robes and things like that.
There's
There's
so
also,
much you can do, but it's again, it's you got to think outside that box. You know,
yeah,
get out of that box. Put your witchy hat on in your head, flip your switch, go into the store and see what you see.
exactly. Exactly. And I absolutely enjoyed this show. We could go on so much, but that's just some basic things we wanted to cover. We both love thrifting. And I think, with everything going on and it becoming more popular, we wanted to definitely cover
Yeah, that's
that.
a thing now. People really, it used to be if you got something at the thrift store and you wore it, people are like, oh,
Yeah,
really? And now they're like, oh my God, that is so cool. Where'd you get it? And you say, oh, I went thrifting. And they're like, where? Because they want to
exactly.
go, so go out there, have some fun. And for your ritual robes or whatever your witch you wear, it is coming up soon. Now's the time to start looking for black skirts, black
Yes,
dresses, whatever your holiday Halloween is, especially if you have children. Now you're going to want to start getting those little things in to make their costumes and all that good stuff. So now's the time to when you really want to start looking at that and start seeing the cost.
exactly.
And again, a lot of your thrift stores have new costumes cheaper than you can buy at the Halloween spirit. Um,
Yep,
I don't recommend spending, $50 on a cloak.
exactly.
I almost fell out on that
And
one.
we'll definitely get, I think we do have some things planned for Samhain, little tips and tricks for things like that once we get closer. So that's going to be fun. But again, the keyword is thrift. We'll just go with thrift instead of thrifting. Thrift.
Either one will get it for you though.
Yeah, either one. We won't be picky. And again, that's teatimemc at gmail.com, TEATHYMEMC at gmail.com. And please feel free to email or message our Facebook page with any questions or ideas or topics that you want us to cover. We would love, love, love to hear from you.
And we're going to do a cooking session because I've decided we're going to try and get in that kitchen a little bit and get a little bit of this out. Um, if you want something particular that you want us to see to do, like if you want us to do a craft or something like that, or show us how to do this, please let us know because that's not a problem. We can show you how to do stuff and we can walk you step by step. But again, if you have a craft that you have done, if you've made something really cool or you got a steal at a thrift store, put it on our Facebook page so we can see it and share it with everybody else. Because when you get those good buys, they are awesome and you just like to show them off. So if you
We
want to show them off, get on our page and give us a picture of it and just just
thrifty find. Show us your thrifty finds.
show us what that witchy stuff that you got.
Your thrifty witchy stuff. Thank you so much again for such a great show, and we are so excited. Thank you for your support as always. We love you all so so much, and don't forget to go to our YouTube channel, Tea Time with Mother and Crone. Like and subscribe, and click on the little bell so that you know when we're recording.
So you might actually get to see us live. Not that it's any different than what you're saying because we make mistakes both ways.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much again, and we